What if I told you that much of who you are today has been shaped by events you barely remember? The choices you make, the relationships you navigate, the emotions you suppress. What if they're not entirely your own? Hidden forces from your past may secretly be pulling the strings of your life, shaping everything without your awareness. This isn't an exaggeration. According to Dr. Gabor Maté, a world-renowned expert on trauma, the unseen wounds of childhood have profound and lasting effects. These wounds don't fade simply because we grow older. Instead, they embed themselves deep within us, silently influencing our thoughts, behaviors, and even our physical health. The most troubling part? Many of us have no idea. These wounds remain buried in the subconscious, convincing us that what we feel, think, and do reflects who we are, when, in reality, they reflect the survival mechanisms our younger selves developed to protect us. Dr. Maté's definition of trauma is both simple and deeply insightful. He explains, trauma is not what happens to you. Trauma is what happens inside of you as a result of what happened to you. So, while physical abuse, emotional neglect, or abandonment might be the source of trauma, it's not the event itself that causes the scar. It's how your mind and body respond to it. Trauma changes the way we see ourselves, the way we see others, and the way we exist in the world. Now, this might sound abstract, but let's explore how this could look in a practical sense. What childhood trauma really means. Imagine yourself as a child. Picture a baby crying for comfort. They're hungry or scared, but no one comes to soothe them. Over time, the baby learns that their cries are meaningless. Their needs won't be met. They internalize this lesson, not consciously, of course, but deep in their subconscious. Or consider a young child who's told they're too sensitive, too needy, or too much. They may hear this from a parent, a sibling, or even a teacher, and eventually they suppress their emotions. After all, expressing them leads to rejection, discomfort, or shame. For others, the trauma could be more subtle. A parent may be physically present but emotionally distant, preoccupied with their own struggles, grief, or stress. The child may never be abused or yelled at, but they never feel truly seen or understood. They miss the emotional attunement that every growing mind craves. The result is always the same. The child begins to disconnect. They push away their vulnerability to survive. Dr. Maté proposes that trauma in childhood isn't rare. In fact, it's nearly universal in some form or another. The degree or nature of the trauma may vary, but its roots are often grounded in a disconnect from one's emotions, from caregivers, or even from oneself. The subconscious influence of trauma. Although childhood seems like a distant memory, the impact of those early years lingers in surprising ways. Trauma has a tendency to embed itself in the subconscious mind. It lays the foundation upon which we build our identity, our habits, and even our relationships. Let's say you grew up in a household where love felt conditional, where approval was earned only when you achieved something or behaved a certain way. This could manifest as perfectionism in adulthood. You find yourself working relentlessly, chasing success, and basing your self-worth on external validation. Or perhaps you were raised in an environment full of unpredictability and chaos. This could breed hypervigilance, a constant state of alertness. Even when circumstances are safe, you might still feel anxious, as though the next disaster is just around the corner. In more extreme cases, trauma might lead you to disconnect entirely. You could avoid intimacy, withdraw emotionally, and live behind walls of self-protection, all built to ensure no one ever has the power to hurt you again. But here's the tricky part. These patterns of behavior don't feel unnatural. To the traumatized individual, these responses feel like truth. Hypervigilance is mistaken for being cautious. Perfectionism is seen as ambition. Emotional avoidance is framed as independence. All the while, trauma quietly pulls the strings. How trauma shapes everyday life. Dr. Maté underscores how these invisible forces influence nearly every aspect of adulthood. Here are just a few examples. 1. Relationships. Many people with unresolved trauma struggle with attachment in relationships. For example, someone abandoned in childhood may develop a fear of intimacy, constantly pushing others away. Conversely, they might become excessively dependent, clinging to romantic partners or friends out of fear of losing them. 2. Self-worth. If your emotional needs were rarely validated as a child, you might grow into an adult who constantly doubts their value. Feeling not good enough becomes a subconscious narrative, no matter how much you achieve. 3. Career and burnout. Trauma often convinces us that our productivity equals our worth. If you internalize the belief that your achievements make you lovable, you might find yourself stuck in cycles of overwork and burnout. 4. Physical health. Trauma doesn't just affect the mind, it impacts the body. Chronic stress, anxiety, and repressed emotions can dysregulate the immune system, leading to conditions like autoimmune diseases, digestive disorders, and chronic pain. These are just a few ways trauma quietly infiltrates daily life. And unless we address it, these patterns continue to play out, often leaving us trapped in an invisible, inescapable loop. Healing begins with awareness. Here's some good news. You're not doomed to live in the shadow of your trauma. As Dr. Gabor Maté emphasizes, healing begins the moment you start paying attention. The first step is awareness. Start by gently observing your behaviors. Ask yourself, do I seek approval from others to feel worthy? Am I avoiding relationships because I'm afraid of rejection or abandonment? Do I overwork myself because I believe achieving more will make me enough? These questions are not meant to create judgment. They're meant to illuminate patterns that may have gone unnoticed. Breaking free from a cycle. Dr. Maté offers several pathways toward breaking free from trauma's invisible grip. 1. Reconnect with your emotions. Many of us suppress our feelings as a form of self-protection. Reconnecting with your emotions through therapy, journaling, or mindfulness allows you to process what you've been avoiding. 2. Challenge your inner narratives. Trauma convinces us of lies. It tells us we're unworthy, unlovable, or broken. To heal, we must name these narratives and replace them with compassionate truths. 3. Practice self-compassion. Instead of blaming yourself for patterns born from survival, try honoring the resilience that allowed you to endure. Self-compassion is a crucial element of healing. 4. Seek safe relationships. Trauma is often rooted in relationships, and healing often begins within them. Building safe, supportive relationships helps reverse the isolation so many trauma survivors feel. The holistic approach to healing. Dr. Maté points out that trauma healing is not only psychological, it's physical. The mind and body are deeply intertwined. Practices like yoga, breath work, and meditation can help release stored emotional pain from the body, while improving mental clarity and resilience. Moreover, finding meaning in your experiences is key. Many who heal from trauma discover that their greatest wounds hold the seeds of their greatest transformations. The promise of healing. Trauma doesn't have to define your life. While its scars may run deep, healing is always possible. The journey requires patience, self-compassion, and the willingness to face your inner world, but the rewards are profound. Dr. Gabor Maté reminds us, you have the capacity to heal yourself. You have the strength to transform pain into growth. The resources you need are already within you. Childhood trauma may have shaped your story, but it doesn't have to write the ending. Starting today, you can take a step, one small, courageous step toward freedom. So the real question is, are you ready to uncover the truth you've always carried? Because healing begins with awareness. If this video has resonated with you and opened your eyes to new perspectives, don't let the journey stop here. Subscribe to our channel and join a growing community of people seeking healing, growth, and deeper understanding. And remember, you're not alone in this. Share this video with someone who might need to hear these insights, because together we can spread awareness and help others start their own journeys of healing.